Hey guys, Jaydon and Rylee here. Welcome to Tweak Talk. We've had a couple of weeks off. Not like we decided to have a couple of weeks off. It just has been the way that it's worked out. Hey, there's been 480,000 things to do.
Well, as you can see, we're in a new little spot here. We had to move our house.
That's right. So anyway, now we're back in business, and Tweak Talk will be coming to you every week. I know we said that before, but yeah, we're definitely going to work on the consistency and ensure that this is coming out every Thursday. Hey.
Yeah.
So what we thought we'd do today is, speaking of consistency, what we wanted to touch on is what we're calling a training funk, or I suppose a difficulty within your training where you find a lull in your motivation, and just find training overall difficult to sell yourself, difficult to get into the routine, difficult to maintain the routine, and just I suppose lose your enthusiasm for exercise. So we thought we'd spend some time on this because it's not uncommon.
It happens to the best of us.
Yep.
We go through it all the time.
100%. So we thought we'd talk about some tools and tips as to what we can do to change that and improve it.
Yeah.
And perhaps there's something in here that could help you if you're in this situation. If you're out there and you're watching this and you do exercise on a regular basis, if you're not in a training funk right now, you will be at some time. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. And it happens for a reason.
Yep.
It happens for you. It gives you the opportunity.
Whoops.
Guys, if you've seen this water bottle, show them your water bottle.
A little water bottle.
It's a freaking missile and it's so loud when it hits the ground.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's another video for another day.
Back on track.
I think a training funk is a real opportunity for you to grow into something new, and to really sort of push outside of your comfort zone again. And it really does sort of spark a whole new sort of avenue for your training, I think.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Hey?
Yeah. So instead of seeing it, I think, as a like a negative thing, it's a real positive thing to really grow and evolve.
Yep.
So yeah.
Cool. All right. So when it comes to the best results in terms of training, we hopefully we know that regular effort is applied, regular training sessions, specific training, and I suppose consistency are crucial key elements, I think, in any sort of successful training program. And what we want to talk on today is just what happens when all of those key elements just feel like work. You know, like some days you wake up and you're super excited to exercise, like you want to get out, you want to move, you want to sweat, you want to lift weights or run fast or whatever it is that you do in your training, swim, cycle, whatever. Yeah. Some days it's like, it's an effort to get out of bed.
Oh yeah.
So you've like, your mental struggle has started before you even,
put your feet on the floor.
Correct. So that's what we wanted to speak about. And I thought, I thought we'd give you like 4 tips, like 4 keys that you could use if you're in a training funk right now that you can actually grab and use and sort of implement today.
Yeah.
But I think tip number 1 is have a good routine, and this starts prior to having a training funk. I think we all know that motivation has peaks and troughs. So some days you feel really good, some days you don't feel so good. I've always said on days where you feel really good, you really need to take advantage of that training opportunity. So get a phenomenal session in, work as hard as you can on the days that you feel really good, take advantage of that, because some days you just don't feel so good. So on the days you're motivated, grab that and really run with it. But the key behind building a routine is that motivation becomes a secondary factor rather than the main contributing factor. Hey?
Yeah. So
you know that you're going to contribute whatever it is for you. Maybe it's 5 days a week, and this is one of the things that we push really quite hard, is that Monday through to Friday you're consistent with your exercise. So you are definitely exercising 5 days a week. If that's what your choice is, then you build into your routine a time in the morning or a time in the afternoon or whatever it is for you, that you are exercising Monday through to Friday without fail because that's what you do.
Yeah.
It's like brushing your teeth or showering or whatever. Exercise for that day is just part of it.
Yeah.
Some days you're going to know that you feel really good because your motivation is high and you're excited. Some days you're going to feel flat, but you're going to exercise regardless because you've got a routine and a commitment to yourself.
Yeah, you might have to draw on that discipline aspect a little.
Yep.
But also really put focus on how you're going to feel after it. So, you know, you're going to feel amazing after that session. It's going to set you up for your day. It's going to set you up for eating well. I find if I work out first thing in the morning or do some cardio or just move in any way, I'm then motivated to fuel that what I've just done and feel it well. So, yeah, it sets you up for your day.
Yep, 100%. So I think tip number one to avoid and minimise the training funk is to create a good routine when you're feeling good. So really build on and work and develop a good routine, whatever that means for you. So
yeah, just exploring.
Correct.
You know, exploring what works is how you build a good routine.
Yep.
So,
and if you're out there and you're just getting started and you're like, oh, I can't do 5 days a week, then do 1 day a week, whatever it is. Like it's Monday afternoon when motivation is highest. You're exercising from 5 till 6, regardless of what happens in the world, regardless if it's raining or if it's hot or if it's cold or if it's wet or whatever. That's your time to do that exercise, and that becomes your routine every single week from this point forward.
Yeah.
And then you look to build from there. So tip number one to avoid or minimise the impact of a training funk is to have a really good routine.
Yeah. 100%. And you know, it might even be like, sorry, I forgot to add before, playing around with your rest days as to, you know, how you go about your week. So, you know, if it was me, I would rather have a rest day sort of midweek and then train at some point over the weekend, because I like to train over the weekend, you know, and the weekend is a time where we tend to sort of splurge or, you know, indulge, and so it should be, it's the weekend, but you know that you've got that training session in. So it's, and everyone is so individual in that sense, so it's really about sort of finding what works for you.
Yep, 100%. Like I'm
what
not,
makes you feel good.
I'm the opposite. Like I don't like to train on the weekend. Hey, usually I like to have my training done as much as possible.
But I like to exercise in a different way on the weekend as well. So, you know, I'll do like maybe a HIIT session, or we'll go for a walk or a hike or a walk on the beach and stuff like that. So it's a really good opportunity for that sort of stuff too.
Yep, 100%. Okay, so tip number one is have a good routine. Tip number two is to change it up. I think we're all guilty of getting a little stale in our training. Hey? So if we're weight training, we're doing, you know, the same sort of split. We're doing chest one day, legs one day, back one day, core one day, cardio one day, whatever it is that you're doing. And it's the same exercises and the same sets and reps, and in some cases the same weights, like day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, depending on what it is that you're doing. You're doing the same thing over and over again.
And you know, like, I don't know about you, but there's, I do know.
I don't know about other people.
Yeah, but like I have certain like days where I'm just like, you know, if it's chest day, like I'm not a real big fan of chest, so it's like,
so it's a drag anyway.
Like you with legs, it's like, I don't really feel like doing legs, but I have to do it. But then, you know, having that over the course of months and knowing that that's leg day, like your motivation is going to be low anyway, you know. So you really, it's just not going to work long term. Yeah,
it doesn't. And particularly if you're feeling that lull or that lack of motivation that you would find in a training funk, it's like, oh, I'm not doing legs today, I'm not doing chest today. So by changing it up, you can really get, I suppose you can trick yourself into or sell yourself on the idea that this is what we're going to do. So for me, for you know, legs day, I don't mind plyometric type stuff. So if I'm like doing jump squats and split jumps and box jumps, I can sell that to myself as a legs day, disguised as, I don't know, cardio or something like that, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Whereas if I'm doing 4 sets of 10 on the squat, 4 sets of 10 on the leg press, 4 sets of 10 leg extension. That's a bit of a tough sell for me. Just a personal thing. So some other ways that you could change things up out there is really simple. So maybe you want to keep the same program. That's cool. So what you can do is decrease or increase the reps.
Yep.
So as a result of that, your weight's going to have to change. So if you increase your reps, say you go from 12 to 15 reps to 20 reps, you need to lower the weight to make sure that you can get to your 20 reps. If you're going to go from 20 reps to 8 reps, you're going to have to increase the weight to make sure it's still difficult.
Yep.
You can mess around with your rest times. You can actually have a specific rest time. This is one of the things that I talk to people about, and they look at me like this is boring, because it is a little bit boring.
It's not,
but
it's so effective.
Oh, it's so effective.
And you're on task, like you're in and out.
It increases your efficiency through the roof.
Yeah. So you're in and out in 45 minutes in comparison to an hour and 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So
100%. Just by managing your rest times, actually with a stopwatch, not with your phone, because then you end up on Facebook doing whatever.
Yeah.
You actually do it with a stopwatch so you can manage your rest between sets. It changes things up. Your body experiences something completely different during the session.
Yeah, you need that shock.
Yeah, 100%, and you will get it from increasing or decreasing reps, decreasing weights, and rest.
And I think too, like if you could say, oh, I squatted 100 kilos, but that's really good, that's amazing, but you're having 10 minutes rest in between sets. It's like it's difficult when you're not measuring your rest, because you're not. What you see is a rest gain rather than a strength gain. Yeah, exactly. So it really sort of puts a bit of a blur over that.
And it's hard to measure that on an ongoing basis as well. If you're not measuring rest and you see this on a regular basis. Like people will talk about increasing their weight, from 100 kilo squat one week to 110 kilo squat the next week. That's a 10% increase in your ability to squat. Generally speaking, you don't see that kind of increase when all the variables are measured. That's an extreme amount of weight to increase over a period of a week or two. And usually what that is, in our experience, is an increase in rest rather than an increase in strength.
Yeah, and I think too, like maybe doing sort of different combinations. So, for example, I'm not a huge fan of chest, so I'll combine that with like arms. So I'll do chest and arms for one day, and then I'll do back and arms for another upper body day. Just so it's not like purely just chest and tries, or just chest, So different combinations can really help sort of mask the things that you don't like, and then you end up sort of really getting into it, because as you get stronger, you're seeing those strength gains. You might be seeing a little bit more definition in that area, and that sort of like gives you a bit of fire, and you might actually turn that around. So
and you can learn to enjoy the session just by thinking outside the square a little bit. You can actually really enjoy it. And I think that has flow-on effects as well, which works on kicking that funk. Okay, so we spoke about having a good routine, changing it up. Now, tip number 3 would be to do something different, or to try something different.
Not like changing it up different, like completely different.
Completely different.
Out of your comfort zone.
Yep, 100%. One of the things that I like to encourage the boys in the gym to have a go at is a class, because I don't know why it is that so many boys that lift weights think that classes are just for girls, and then you throw them in there and ask them to do 50 reps of the squat or 100 reps of a body weight squat, which you might do across a course of a class, and all of a sudden it's not for girls anymore. It's like, what the hell just happened? And I don't know where that stigma comes from, that classes are for women and the weights are for men, or whatever. That's just so not a thing. But if you're, regardless of your sex and how you're training, if you're someone that's training in the gym on a regular basis and you're finding a funk and you're struggling to get feel that motivation again and that excitement for exercise, go and jump in and try a group fitness class. You'll just get a whole new appreciation for what you're doing at the moment, and you might just find that you really love doing classes.
There's so many different aspects to class too, like you've got that social aspect as well as the energy in the room being completely different to your energy being on your own. You've got people to bounce off, you've got a trainer there looking over you, correcting your form, and it might just click something for you to go, oh my god, I'm going to try that in the gym next week, and bam, you're away. So I love MetaFit for that. It completely changed me as a trainer and as just a person who likes to train. It completely changed the way that I train myself and my clients, and really sort of opened up a whole new world of different ways to train. So I think it's really important for people to sort of step outside of their comfort zone a little bit and just test the waters. And you might not like it, at least you can cross it off your list and say, you know what, I'm not doing that again.
But there's so many different classes as well, so you wouldn't just try one class and say, oh, I don't like that. Like, work your way through, particularly if you're finding it difficult to stay motivated. Work your way through different classes and say, all right, that doesn't suit me because of whatever. I'm going to have a crack at this. And the same goes for regular class goals. We find some people are all about classes, not interested in training in the gym for whatever reason. Switch that around. If you're struggling with your classes, not struggling, but struggling with motivation, have a crack at some gym work, hey? And I think that'll give you a completely different appreciation. And one of the things that I like when you're sort of training in classes and gym, you can take some of the information that you've learned from a class and implement that in the gym.
Create something really cool.
So the next time you're doing your legs day, you can do some traditional weight training stuff like the leg press and the barbell squat, and then you include things that you did in the class like a pop squat or a
jump squat,
whatever it is, and it just changes the whole thing up and something that you may never have considered. Like
just the diversity in going to a class and then going the next day you'll go to the gym, like just that alone is really like cool. And it gives you that change that you need, so you're not getting bored, so to speak. The other really cool thing about that too is that you're sort of targeting different muscle fibers. So I get really into like the science and stuff with different training techniques and whatnot. So you might pair a strength-based exercise with a plyometric exercise, and you're targeting two completely different muscle fibers. So you're getting like a really well-rounded little set going on there. Looking at stuff like that, and then from there, you'll see results. You'll see strength gains because you're targeting everything you need to in order to build strength. And maybe even, aesthetic changes as well. So,
Cool.
Things?
Awesome. All right. So the last tip that we have, so once you've worked your way through the top three, or the first three tips, perhaps and you're still not finding that motivation, the tip number 4 that we have for you is to get advice. There's people out there, this is what we do, where we sit down with people and actually structure a week, formulate a plan for them based on the things that they're liking or not liking or enjoying or having trouble with. To do exactly this is to maintain that sort of motivation, to push the idea of enjoyment again in the program, and take a look at exactly what it is that we're doing and see if we can make some changes to improve how much you're enjoying it and also improve your ability to adhere to that particular program. So there's a couple of techniques, I think. There's a couple of things that we can look at, like one-on-one personal training. So you change the whole process around it. So you go from perhaps training in the gym, by yourself, where you have to motivate yourself, get yourself to the gym, and then conduct a session, to I've got an appointment at 9 o'clock that I've got to go to, and the trainer's going to look after everything. All I'm going to do is show up.
And just something as simple as a technique issue can just change your whole your world. So you might be literally an inch out on your squat technique, or
which causes you pain,
which causes you lower back pain. So then, I'm not going to go back to that exercise. I'm going to find something different, and then that hurts too. Like,
or you dread every day you go to train legs because you know you're going to get lower back pain because you're doing something just not that. Not perfectly.
So, and we can't see that. We can't see technique issues. You know, even myself, like, you might be
for ourselves.
So, like, you know, you might have a mirror in front of you, but you know, someone's
can't see what's going
on behind. You know, you don't have a full periphery of what's going on. So it's really important, that technique is corrected straight up.
I think also, if you get advice or under advice, your coach may recommend a training break. I think a training break, you need to be really careful with that, and that's why I've kept it under tip number 4, under recommendation, because if you're someone that's out there and perhaps you haven't gained the years of experience or the perhaps years of appreciation for the importance of exercise, you can have a break that turns into like 1 month, and that turns into a year, and that turns into 10 years of not exercising. And that sounds like really dramatic, but it
happens.
It really happens. So if you're new to exercise and you're going through a training fund, I would say don't take a prolonged rest unless it's under some sort of advice and you've got some sort of accountability to get back into your exercise, because a rest can be really dangerous. A change to your routine can become the rule and the basis of a new routine if you're not careful. So what we're trying to do here is perhaps provide a rest, give your brain the chance to rest and recover, give your body a chance to rest and recover. It might mean that you don't have any early mornings for the next week. You know, no early morning sessions at all. And the week after, you start at 7 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock because you're starting a new routine. But it's calculated, it's specific, and it's designed for you to encourage and build adherence and appreciation for your program long term. There's actually a strategy behind it, not just I'm sleeping in today.
It might not be a complete break either. You know, it might be like an active recovery break where you're implementing like fasted cardio and
no weight training.
No intense cardio, but it might be like a walk and maybe some Pilates or some yoga or something like that to really sort of something really therapeutic.
Or just body weight exercise for the week, you know, like you can do an upper body and a lower body weight session, no weight training. Or there's specific things that you can get together with your trainer on, and they can create a program for you that is minimal stress, is low impact on the joint and the muscles, but keeps you moving, keeps you in some form of routine while giving your brain the chance to just like, I'm going to just take a load off. My sessions are only going to be 20 minutes long. I'm only going to do 3 of them this week. My focus is just going to be on enjoying what I'm doing, not like I have to lose weight or I have to gain muscle or I have to get a 6-pack or whatever it is that we can sort of drum into ourselves at a level of intensity that just doesn't serve us.
I think it's really important to professional help can help in so many ways. You know, I often take into account too the ATP symptom picture that we have on our website. That tells us a lot about a person's what's going on inside of their body. So, you know, if they've got like a high cortisol issue or anything like that, you don't want to be sending them to a HIIT session, or you don't want to be prescribing HIIT exercises for that person. You know, that will just literally escalate the issue. You know, it might be something that you're really sort of honing in on recovery and supplementation to help with that cortisol level, bringing that down, a whole heap of, you know, aspects that need to be looked at. So really important that you do choose someone that can help you if there are underlying issues.
Holistically is what we're talking about there.
Exactly. Like, you need to feel good by what they prescribed. So if it is arcing up anxiety, or if you're feeling stressed, or if you're not recovering well, you're feeling sore for 5 days, that's not serving you. So you need to reevaluate, and that can scare people off.
Yep.
You know, if you're feeling sore for 5 days, hell no, do you want to go back and do that
Yep.
to yourself again?
Yep.
And especially if you don't have that experience prior, that's all you're going to know. It's like, oh, exercise makes me feel sore for 5 days, I'm
Yep.
not going to go and do that again.
And it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. You should be good.
Yep.
Ready to go.
100%.
If you've got a good, you know, recovery plan after. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think also by seeking the advice of a professional, you can start to look at your nutrition as well, because that could be an area where
That's
you're
holding you
struggling. You know, if your nutrition is erratic, if the quality of your nutritional choices is poor, it can be really difficult for you to find a good routine. You know, like by having peaks and troughs in your blood sugar, something as simple as blood sugar.
Yeah.
You're going to feel good and then feel shitty, feel good, feel shitty, feel good, feel shitty. And then if you happen to feel shitty more than you feel good just because of your blood sugar levels, on a day where you mentally would feel low anyway, it can just be just a really crappy combination to say, man, I'm not training today, just bugger off. So if we get your nutrition to a point where it's like supporting your mood and enhancing your mood, so we can minimise the impact of a flat day, which we all have, you stand a better chance of being motivated to go and get that exercise happening.
Yeah. Also, we have a lot of shift workers in Tully too.
Yeah.
So, like when you work shift work, that's really stressful on the body.
Oh yeah.
Hugely stressful on the body.
Yep.
Adding in training on top of that can be like a double enemy. So you need to know how to implement your training around your shift work.
Yep.
Which I think is really important that you, like maybe, you know, even just come in and have a chat. Just, you know, whoever you're working with or whatever gym you go to. It's really important to get clear on what works in your body when working shift work, because super important.
Cool. I think I agree completely. So the 4 tips, just to sort of reiterate for you guys, number 1 is to have a good routine, number 2 is to change it up, number 3 is to try something different, and number 4 is to get advice from a professional. The overall objective, the overall goal here should be to re-engage you and reconnect you with your exercise. We want you to be excited and empowered by the exercise that you're doing, not like dreading it, like, oh my god, here we go again. Like it's another chore, another job. And the goal should be to enjoy it to a point where you can become consistent enough where exercise doesn't have to be painful. It can actually be a really enjoyable process. You know there's going to be difficulties, which is what makes exercise so important for the body and the mind. So it's always going to be difficult, but it's an achievable level of difficulty that you can get through with some enjoyment, enjoy the benefits of the endorphin rush after, and rinse and repeat on a regular basis.
100%.
That's how we get the best benefits from it, and that's how we have long-lasting impacts on our health. And that should be the overall goal. So, is there anything else that you want to touch on kicking training funks?
Wow.
Alright, that's obviously
that could have
the
gone
end.
anywhere.
Jesus. Okay. Well, hopefully there's something in there, guys, that you can take and use if you're in a training funk, or perhaps there's some tools in there that you can start putting in place now to help avoid a potential training funk in the future. And of course, if there's any help that we can give you around this, whether it's in person here in Tully or through an online mechanism, which we're starting to do a little bit more of now, hey? Given the situations that we've got going on around the world. So our capacity to coach online is well and truly there, and something that we can help out with. So reach out, get in touch.
We have an amazing team.
We've
got Dylan and Jamie as well as us in the gym physically here in Tully. So one of us will definitely be able to help you. So reach out.
Yell out. Alright guys, that's it from us. Have a great day wherever you are. Choose to be fit and healthy, and we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Alright guys, take care.
Bye.